She's a fellow beekeeper from Barrington, so we've known her for a few years, and the bee school has actually had her come in the last two classes to give a talk specifically on queens. It's very fascinating. Everyone's very captivated by it. So we asked her to come here tonight and actually give the same or maybe an extended version of that discussion to all you tonight. So I'm sure you all take something out of it. And Liying, what is yours?
I'm very new into beekeeping. I think so, and but I'm just a crazy beekeeper that I get into grafting on my second year, and I grafted quite a few queens, and I had very good overwinter rate for the last 2 years, and all survived. So I'm going to be doing grafting again very soon. Today I will be just talking about some basic queen biology and also discuss some questions with you guys that I have or you have. First, I'll be talking about the queen's life cycle. Probably most of you guys know queen has 16 days from egg to adult bee, and there is some variation for 1 or 2 days depending on the weather. And I've seen that in our climate, early in the season, somewhere in late May, still quite early, I will probably get 17 days long for the queens to hatch. And in end of July and August, I've seen 14 days. And they have the exact same genetics as the worker bees, but they have different results: bigger size, longer life. Queen has a lifespan usually of 3 to 5 years. That's ideally. I still have queens that's already 3 years, but the commercial queens I got usually less than that. I don't know any of your experience. I discussed with Win about that one time, and I was thinking maybe they're artificially inseminated, and if that's what they do, they're able to control the amount of sperms that are injected into the queen. So they are able to control the amount of egg that she can lay. And if they're doing it perfectly, they can actually make that queen only last for a year. So the next year you have to pay for a new queen again. That's kind of in a theory. And the queen is being fed by royal jelly ever since she hatched from that egg. And the workers only got 3 days of royal jelly feeding in their first time of life. So the royal jelly is secreted from the glands in the heads of worker bees, and it's full with hormones, nutrients, and that's why the queen got fully developed ovary, but the worker bees don't have it. And these are the time, and I'm not gonna go through that because you guys probably know that already. This is the virgin queen emerging out. The virgin queen usually chews the cap by herself, and the workers will help to thin the tip of the queen cell. They will chew a little bit liner around it so the queen can chew out from the inside. What will happen if the queen inside is her head facing the tip of the queen cell? She will never be able to get out. She'll be stuck in there. And these are two virgins that fight. If you have more than one virgin emerge at the same time, it's very possible that they will fight. And in the queen cell, if there's two different virgins in different individual queen cells, sometimes you can hear them cracking. That's the sound they're making, like quack, quack. And when they hatch out, they make different sound. It's because they're without that little shell. It will be sounds like choo choo. I've heard that in my virgins. And they're looking for each other. It's a sound saying, come on, find me and we'll fight. And they will fight, and they will try to sting each other, bend their belly. And they'll also attack queen cells. Last year, I gave Wayne a capped queen cell, and he has some emergency queen cell in your observational nuke, right?
Yeah.
So he was very lucky to observe the virgin hatch out and go ahead and order everybody else to kill the other queen cells.
All of them.
It was amazing when I heard that. So I have some questions for you guys. Who will win the battle if a virgin fights with the mated queen?
The virgin.
Virgin.
Most likely virgin, because she can bend her back better than the mated queen. The mated queen usually has a longer belly. And will the virgin attack the mated if they happen to be in the same colony? I would say there are 3 different conditions. The first one, if it's swarm, and I've seen that when I open a swarming hive, there are multiple virgins and with the queens. That's right before the swarm. You might see that, but a lot of times the old queen will leave the hive even before the cell hatch out. The virgins emerge, and my guess. I mean, this is just my guess, and we can talk about it. My guess is they probably wouldn't fight because they're the older one is ready to go. And for the procedure, and there are a lot of discussions everywhere say that you can see two queens, the mother queen and daughter queen, they'll live together for a while until the other one finally die. And I've read somewhere say that the reason for the older queen to die is because they're trying to procedure her, and once the new virgin came out and got mated and started laying, and they will feed the old queen less and less until one time that she didn't get enough nutrients, she'll pass away. And a newly introduced queen, that's if you have a virgin inside your hive, and then you're trying to introduce the queen, what's gonna happen? I have quite a few of you guys last year calling me to buy the queen. I always ask them the first question: are you sure you don't have a queen in your hive? Are you sure you don't even have a virgin in your hive? What's going on before you want to buy a queen? That's something you have to take in decision. If you have a virgin in your hive and you don't know where she is and you're trying to introduce a mated queen, it will be difficult. It will be difficult, and she could be attacked by the virgin queen. And this is a virgin that we had from 2014, and she's still laying. And these are two virgins. And if you look at the virgin size, they're not exactly a lot bigger than the worker bees. See this one? Even the thorax. The thorax is, if you look at this thorax and that one, it's a little bit less hairy, but not that obvious. I did quite a few observations. I learned a combination of thorax and also the back leg. The back leg is usually always big and stronger if you compare that with the worker bee. And this one is the same, the back leg, but they're both virgins. This is what we call courting. When the queen is on the frame, you will see 8 to 10 young workers. Their face is toward the queen, and they take care of the queen. They feed her, they lick whatever dirt she has, and they also clean her out. And okay, let me talk about mating. After emerge, the virgin queen will take 1 to 3 days to get maturing more. And during that day, she'll start producing more and more pheromone. I've noticed that the first time when the virgin just hatch out, all the other worker bees, they just treated her like a worker bee. They don't really courting her, they don't really taking care of her. And she was even feeding herself for the first few hours. And but at the end of the 3rd day, I see more and more worker bees starting to taking care of the virgin. That's go by the theory because she's producing more queen pheromone, and they can know that she will be their leader. And at the 4th day and the 5th day, the virgin started shrinking her size, especially the belly. And she lose some body fluid, so she's lighter. She can fly to get mated. And the 7 to, well, they're missing. There's some variation depending on the time. Sometimes I see they started going mating on the 6 days, but it really depends on the weather. I should correct that to the six days. So to the 6 to 10 days, the mating flight take place on warm afternoons from 2 to 5 p.m. And the book says about 68 Fahrenheit, but I think that's approximate number. And if it's warm weather with the full sunshine, they will go even below that temperature. And the whole thing takes about 20 to 30 minutes. And we started to observe a lot. We set up a video camera in front of our mating yolks and hives just to record what's going on there. And we noticed that the drones go out first. The drones started going out around 11:30 or 11 o'clock, and they'll come and go. And usually, I haven't seen a queen never go out around noontime. She always go about 1:30 or 2 later than that time. And she will take a few orientation flights. And the first flights, we see that she came out to the door and look around and go back in. And came out to the door again and look around and go back in. She'll do that a few times until she feels it's safe to go out. And every time she goes out, there's a little sign that it's very funny. You see a whole bunch of worker bees just rushing out to the entrance. And then right at the moment, you'll see the queen is out behind them. And then when she goes back in, everybody goes back in there too. And she'll do orientation, and a few worker bees will be doing that with her, just right in front of the hive, and you see her doing this. And she does a few orientation flights. We notice sometimes the first one will be like 2 minutes, and the second one will be like 5 minutes. She'll be probably doing 3 or 4 of that, and right after that, she'll take away. When she finally take off, I recorded one time about 15 minutes, and she came back with that mating sign. So the book is very accurate, 20 to 30 minutes. The queen goes 2 to 3 miles, and the drone goes to 1 mile, or some book says 1 to 1.8 miles. So they are actually going different distance. That's the natural instinct for them to avoid inbreeding. So your drone wouldn't be mated with your queen. And also the drone is heavier. For him to fly in the air, to maintain the same time just flying in the air, to wait for the queen to come in, he has to eat more, and he has to come back. He couldn't stay in the air for, I think that the book I gave you says about 15 minutes. Yeah. So he has to go, the whole time, including the mating time, and the flying time is 15 minutes. And queen can go about 20 to 30 minutes. And if you're counting, if she's going way too far, if she's spending 20 minutes on flying to one location, and got mated in about 2 minutes, and she didn't have enough time to come back because she didn't carry that many calories in her body to burn. Well, this is what we call DCA, drone congregation area. It's about 30 to 80 feet high in the air. Usually a few thousand drones. They have huge eyes, and they're not just staying on a stick or on a tree branch or anything. They just fly and look until one time they see the queen and they smell the pheromone. So they'll go chase the queen. First, you will see a lot of drones will go after the queen, and then the queen goes faster because she's actually smaller at that time because she shrank her size. And whoever is fast enough will be able to catch her, and you'll see less and less drones going after her. And the first one will hold her from the back. And it only takes about 12 to 20 drones. And the whole thing is less than 5 minutes. The first drone, let me say this one, that is the queen's bottom abdomen. And this whole thing, this is the endophallus of the drone. And the drone stick his tip of ab into queen's sting chamber. This is the sting chamber. The stinger is right above it. And he will contract all his muscle to squeeze all his body fluid, including the sperm, into endophallus. You'll see that big bubble. And then there's a little tunnel here, and connect that little round thing that's a sperm theca. That's where all the sperms get stored up for, and these are the queen's ovary. After the drone squeezed all fluid out of his body, he got paralyzed instantly, and he will drop off. This whole thing is less than 2 seconds. And the second one, you see that when he's doing that, next one is already flying there. And with this one, I have one other. I watched one video that the first one dropped, and the second one will drop in there and they pull out the endophallus in the stinger, the tip of the last drum out, and he will put his in. So, and whoever does that will keep going on until the very last one. Nobody can pull the rest of the stuff out, and the queen will take that back home. This is what we call mating sign. This is actually my queen. Do you see the little white little thing? That's a mating sign. My husband and I were a little bit crazy. We opened up on a mating day. We're always just sitting outside watching, and when we see the queen come back, we even pull out the frame, just look at her. And book says don't disturb, but we found she was fine. She was just happy to show off everybody I got mated. and she will be walking around on that frame for a few hours. And one time I noticed 5 hours after, she still has a little bit of those residual on her bottom. That is the drone's endophallus. That's the little bubble thing. If you squeeze one time and squeeze another time, the whole thing will pop out. Okay. 1 to 2 days after mating, the queen will actually expel 90% of the sperms and store the rest of them in her sperm theca. And when she expels 90% of the sperms, the rest 10% will get mixed up. And that's about how much, I think it says 3 million of sperms, approximately. And she'll start lay eggs. We've seen the egg laying pattern started 24 hours. That's the fastest I saw. And I also see sometimes 4 or 5 days, but 24 hours is the fastest I saw. And when she lays the egg, she uses her front leg to measure the size of the cell. If it's a big cell, she'll lay an unfertilized egg, which will be a drone. And if it's a small cell, she'll lay a fertilized egg. That will be a worker. Let me go back to that. When she lays that egg, okay, she will eject an egg down that tube. And then when she wanted to fertilize it, she will squeeze out one sperm and they will meet here. It's amazing how that happens. And then when they came out, drop in the cell, it will be a fertilized egg. And here's the few points. You may see more than one egg in a cell at the beginning when your queen just got mated, but usually less than 3. If you see more than 3, that's more a serious condition, and usually laying workers. I've also seen the new queen will sometimes lay on the side of the cell. And it's very, very similar to the laying worker condition. And you just have to give her a little time. And usually a week later, she'll be laying perfect 1 egg on the very bottom of the cell. And at her peak time, she can lay about 2,000 eggs a day, usually 1,000 to 1,500 eggs a day. 250 eggs a year, more than 1 million during her lifetime. Her prime year will be the year after mated. This sentence, her prime year will be the year after mated, was I quoted by Mike Palmer. And it made me thinking, should we sell an overwinter nuke to a new beekeeper or not? To somebody never had beekeeping experience, should we sell overwinter nuke to those people or not? My thinking is probably not. Even though everybody thinks overwinter nuke is the best, it's the most expensive nuke in the market, and you gotta start early, you got a strong queen, and it's the prime year of the queen. But she will swarm, and she will very easily swarm early. And if you're a new beekeeper, you don't have enough experience to handle that, probably shouldn't go pay for that. You should just get a regular milk or even package. That's just my opinion. Here's some mated queen. This is the mated queen that we had August 2015. And this is the exact same queen, 2016. You can see it is her prime year. She gets fatter and she gets longer. That's her just start laying. There are some other major tasks for queens. Queen produce pheromone to communicate with the workers, and the pheromone gets delivered through touching each other's antenna and mouth parts. Queen pheromone has about 30 types. There are fatty acids and proteins. And the queen pheromone has different functions: stimulate or suppress. And when you have a queen in your hive, what will worker bees do? They will draw combs. They will try to build new homes, and they will try to get everything ready for the queen to lay. That's by they will guard, they will forage, and they will feed the brood. But if you don't have a good queen, and all these will not be happening. And on the other side, it has the queen signal stimulates routine behavior. That's what we call courting, the take care of the queen. And the queen signal stimulates the swarm clustering. And you guys probably have already seen that. They wouldn't swarm if there's no queen. Last year we were at Reba's meeting. It was a very interesting meeting, and we went there in the yard. And we were just inspecting one hive with everybody. And the hive just started to swarm during the inspection. And it was so amazing that there were bees everywhere. Like in 15 minutes, everybody started to go inside. And we started thinking, what's going on? Then we know that the queen was still inside. So they're not going to swarm without the queen. And after a while, everybody's inside. So that's the swarm clustering, they're going to go without the queen. And also it attracts the drone and get mated. What will happen if your queen is old? If she is sick or she's not laying well, she wouldn't be produce enough queen pheromone. And the workers will be able to detect that, and they will build supersedure cells. And the supersedure cells is usually between 1 to 3 cells, and I call it planned parenthood. So it's what they know what's going to happen, and they know they're going to take care of that. And it's usually pretty long, and it's pretty good cell. And if I see a supersedure cell in my hive, I'll just let them do it. But there's one different condition. I just quite a few people ask me when they install the package and they saw the super seeder cells 2 to 3 weeks after, and I look and I found a video that Mike Palmer said on YouTube probably last year, and he mentioned that because of the package bees, your lack of nurse bees, and when you first have the queen start laying, and because of nurse bee, even the older worker bees, they'll reverse back to nursing function. They will be able to secrete some royal jelly, but it won't be the same function as the regular young nurse bee. And the bees will sense that, and they will get stressed. But they have nobody to blame except the queen. So that's what usually happens after the first 2 to 3 weeks after you have your package, and you start seeing super seeder cells. And he mentioned there's a correction of that situation is if you have another hive, pull a frame of nurse bee and hatchet brood, and that will take care of it right away. So.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
Do the bees have anything like a central nervous system?
Central nervous system? I don't know. I guess they have a brain.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's central nervous
Has anybody
system.
studied the brain?
I don't know.
I'm sure they have, and I'm sure there's a central nervous system because of their ability to do different things. So I suspect that that's a fact.
Roughly, how many dendrites do you think they found?
How many?
For the size, it's pretty astonishing when I read it. That's all I've read about it. And they have the ability to do calculations that we can't even begin to think of to find food sources, whether they're going to go there, whether they have the resources to do it, on and on and on. So it's probably for the size, it's probably pretty high. Good thing I know people have studied it.
There's a big discussion in last week's Times, which reflects an area of study which is gaining popularity, and that is, in what species does consciousness exist, awareness? And it's the function of how many dendrites in the CNS.
Interesting, because that is a very big deal right now in the world, trying to figure out what human function is and those type of things and ability. It is an interesting study area at the moment. I'm not quite sure. I'm sure you can look it up.
I can both look it up.
I bet you can go find it. I bet you can find it with Mr. Google in a matter of minutes. But that's another story. Just a quick comment.
Yes.
Is this referring to the one on Facebook at Rhode Island?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw you start the.
A few people asked that, and somebody called me, and I said, well, because I don't buy package bees. I've never bought any package bees. I don't have enough experience on that. But I see the similar situation when I introduce a new queen to the hive. But it's kind of different when you first introduce a new queen to a hive, and I see super seeder cells a little bit, just for a little while. And my thoughts is because she was laying up to speed, she's not used to the new environment yet, and once her speed picks up, and so I saw those super seeder cells were gone. So that's kind of different from the package bee condition. Because they're lacking the appropriate age of nurse bees to take care of the broods. Yes.
I've heard of putting a frame of young brood and nurse bees in a swarm to attract the swarm into a hive. Would you recommend putting one in every package just to make sure you have enough nurse bees?
Well, that'd be perfect if you can do that, but most people buying package bees is because they don't have any bees.
Yeah.
If you have any bees, you may just wait and split, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. When they're ready to spread out, you'll see swarm cells. And it's usually more than 10, and they're usually on the edge of the comb. It could be on the bottom or on the sides. If you see it's on the very, okay, if that's the frame, and if you see it's on the very top edge of that frame, it's still counted as sides. And you should not be thinking it's just something else. If you see more than 10, and they're long, they're fat, and they're full of nutrition, and they always come in multiple stages. You won't see just everything is capped at the same time. You're always gonna see egg, larva, capped. And they're best queen cells for splitting, but they're very difficult to maintain because they're sitting on the edge. Every time you pop your hive, you most likely will break them. And also, I haven't done anything with taking a swarm cell because I couldn't determine the date. When I graft, I know exactly which day they'll hatch out. I know what my next step is. But if going with swarm cell splitting, I feel like I couldn't control it. So what if you roll your queen? If you have a sudden queen death, and you will see emergency queen cells in 24 hours. And my mentor at Cal told me once that the bees will be able to sense it in an hour, right after that, when they lost the queen. And that's quite amazing to me. And they're usually more than 3 cells, and you will see attached cells, and they're shorter because the queen is actually halfway hanging in horizontally, and other half is hanging down vertically. But for the supersedure cell and the swarm cell, the queen is actually going straight down. So if you see a small emergency queen cell, it does not necessarily mean that she will be tiny, and also does not mean that she will be bad. I have 2 queens that are from my first emergency queen cell hive, my first hive. We rolled the queen. So they're 3 years and they're laying like a machine, crazy amount of brood. So I don't think you can say they're bad, but there are people, I've seen more and more people doing splits. And they split early in the season. They only pull 2 frame of bees, 1 frame of brood, 1 frame of cap brood, 1 frame of young brood, a frame of honey, a frame of another thing in a nuke, and in hoping that they will make a good queen. My suggestion is that probably wouldn't guarantee you a very good quality queen because they don't have enough resource if they have a lot of open brood. They will have to feed everybody, not just the queen. So, but if you have a strong, big 2 deep hive, and you happen to lose your queen, and they're building a lot of queen cells, those queen cells can be very good. They have a lot of resources. They have a lot of foragers, worker bees to feed those queen cells. Think about the way the commercial beekeepers do. I know some of them, they use 10 solid frame of capped brood as the cell starter. And from that cell starter, it will raise about somewhere from 30 to 40 queen cells. And if you want to get a few queens just out of a 2 deep of bees, and the emergency queen cell is from that strong hive, could be good. But for the splits, I do doubt it. This is our queen cells from last year. This is the brood, and this is the brood last summer. And they laid so much that they used out everything in the hive. I don't even see any honey on the corner. And this is the brood that we just had a week ago. It was from the top to bottom again. And this is my mating frames. My mating nukes. I overwinter my mating nukes. These are mating nuke frames. Some of them are foundationless, and this is very tiny. This is about half of a medium, and that is half of a deep. And I have quite a few of these, and I overwinter them together. At the end of the season, I take out all the queens, and I combine the rest of the bees and the brood, and I combine them into double nukes. Like you saw here, this is 1 queen with those half-deep frames. There's another queen with those half-deep frames. I marked the entrance in different color and patterns so they wouldn't get lost. See those little tablets, different color. And these are my double nukes. I have quite a few of those. So I talk about that question. Who should buy the overwinter nukes? We talk about that. And another thing is the time of queenery in the northern states. I am thinking should be when we have abundant amount of local drones. What's the meaning to rear your own queen? Is you want a queen that is used to your climate. So you want your queen to be able to mate with your local drones, not the drones from the package, not the drones from package that shipped from California or Florida. So I would wait until I see purple-eyed drone. The purple-eyed drone shows first at about 15 days of the drone's lifetime. And drone has about 24 days to hatch. And 9 days after that, he'll emerge. And it'll take about 2 weeks for him to get sexually ready. And his mating window is about 2 to 3 weeks. And if you're counting by that, and if I graft, when I first see the purple-eyed drone, and when I graft about a few hours old larva, usually less than 12 hours old larva. And they're about 3 days already because 3 days from egg to larva. So that takes about another 13 days for that grafted queen to hatch out. By the time she hatch out, she needs another 5 days to be sexually matured enough to go mating flights. And when she goes mating flight, there are already enough drones in the air to wait for her. So I wouldn't start too early, but I wouldn't do too late. I will be doing my grafting very soon. Okay, any questions for me? Yes?
Are you using a breeder queen or are you starting with a breeder queen?
Right now, I'm using my own breeder queen. I have queens that survived 2 years. So they'll be the 3rd years, and they're doing so well. And I also have hives that haven't treated for anything.
Cool.
But I am very fortunate that I live in an area that I have a lot of hives around me, and within 1.5 miles, I have a guy that it's a Russian guy. He raised mostly Russian black bees. He has about 30 hives in a farm. So I have another fellow beekeeper that she has about 6 Coriolan bees, Coriolan hives, and she only uses pure Coriolan breeds. So you see my queen, the queen I show you has that golden color. I was talking to Wayne the other day, I think, where is she? I think she most likely mated with some Coriolans, because she's maybe an Italian and Coriolan mix. You can see that yellow color combination with the dark brown combination, and they're doing great. And I love them. And I can say that I overwinter them well. And I have all my hives getting to swarm mode now. All of them, not even one missed it. They haven't swarmed yet, but they're all in swarm mode. I'm running crazily this week and next week and last week. All my double nukes, all my hives. So at least show that they're doing well. Right? Any other questions?
Any other questions?
Yes.
If you're getting a package, can you ditch that queen and buy one of those queens?
I don't know. I think it really depends on where your queen is coming from, and I like local queens because I raise them, and I haven't been buying any queen except last year I bought one Coriolan queen just to incorporate different genetics into my queen yard. I will be incorporating different genetics into my queen yard every year, and to make sure that I don't get inbreeding. And also, but I thought about this question: should I just buy another queen from another resource? Yes, I buy it. I buy pure Carniolan queens. But if you get pure Carniolan queens, I would keep it. I think you should keep it too. But if you don't know where your queen is coming from, if she's not doing well, yes, you can ditch her. But if she's doing fine, maybe you should just give her a chance. Yes.
You commented about hives in the preparing to swarm, in
Uh-huh.
the swarming mode. What do you look for? What are the characteristic behavior of the hive that you say?
When I see the hives are getting ready to swarm, I notice a few things. The first thing is I see less entrance activity, absolutely less. And I can compare that with the nuke. I have a hive that getting into swarm mode. I see the full hive, full size 2 deep hive has even way less activity than a tin frame nuke. And I look into it, and they have different stage of queen cells. And I also started to see when you have queen, when they get into swarm mode, you will pull out a hatching out brood frame. And you look into that frame, and you will see the hatching out cells are usually the cells that the queen loves to lay eggs first. But when they're getting ready to go swarm, those cells will actually be filled with nectar. And that's some sign I notice just when I see that, I start thinking, they're gonna go. And once you see an egg in a queen cup, they're determined to go. Some people say they're not gonna go until you have a cap queen cell, but I don't agree with that. If they have an egg, the egg will hatch out into a larva in 3 days. And usually bees, they don't move their egg around for no reason. And once that egg hatch out into a larva, they'll feeding her, and she'll become a queen cell, capped queen cell soon. So if you see an egg, try figure something, because you have a few days. And I read some books says they don't usually go until the cell caps. But they may go. There's still small chance that the queen may leave even right before that cell cap. So I start panicking when I see the cell goes this long. And I run. I would do something to stop them from going. Yes. Yes.
I pulled 4 frames out 4 days ago that had queen cells already.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think this hive ever stopped laying. All winter long I had orientation flights going on at Christmas time. I had orientation flights going on in February. The hive was so big that the screen bottom board has a ball of bees on it. They can't fit in the hive, and during the day they're clinging to the front of the hive. There's no room for them. So I had to yank some frames out, put it in a split. But I know it's way too early, it's too cold, but I had no choice.
Exactly. This year is different. Plus, we got today is really cold. I was just telling my husband we're gonna have chill breed. He said chill brood. He said it's okay. We have enough. And what I want to say.
They were pulling dead brood out in February and January. It was too cold. There was so much brood, there weren't enough bees. The bees weren't coming out of the winter cluster to keep warm.
But
I knew this was going to happen. I just didn't realize it was going to happen this early.
This year, we have a little thermometer probe that we're sticking to the inner cover and connect to a thermometer outside, and we check the temperature very early in the season. I checked in January, it was already 88 Fahrenheit above the inner cover. That means what? They have brood. They have brood in January, and I checked late December, it was about that. So I don't think they ever stopped laying because of the winter was so warm. And myself, I did some experiment. I flipped one box. I reversed one hive. I discussed with Wayne, should I do it? Should I do it? I did it very early. I did about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I thought that will stop them from swarming. No. No, when I opened up yesterday, 15 frames of brood. And tons of queen cells. But it did slow them a little bit because their queen, I haven't seen any long queen cells yet, which means they just started. I only see eggs in the queen cup. Compared to my other hives that I didn't reverse, I have hives that I didn't reverse, and I noticed the bottom is almost empty. Only have 2 frames of brood on the bottom, 7 frames of brood on the top, and they have swarm cells almost capped. But I didn't reverse that. So reversing probably helped a little bit, slowed down a little bit, but not definite. Not definite. Yes.
So when you made the decision to reverse, was it based on the lower box being pretty much empty?
Yes.
No pollen, just no brood, nothing.
Yes.
So in other words, if say had it been packed with pollen, then you wouldn't have done it, maybe, or?
No. I doubt if you will see a early spring hive bottom be packed with pollen. If it's very early. I did it in somewhere in March.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the time that if you look into your hive and the bottom should usually be all empty.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see a single brood on the bottom. But I read people say that if you have brood on the bottom and you have brood on the top, even you have maybe a little bit on the bottom, if you reverse it will be breaking up the brood nest. Think about it. It will be breaking up the brood nest. And if you have brood on the bottom, you shouldn't reverse it. But I didn't have any brood on the bottom at that time, so I reversed it. It did slow down them a little bit, but I think I gained maybe 1 week. That's it. So.
Any other questions? I want to thank you very much. You all had a college lesson.
It's my pleasure.